In this video, we're going to look at the last way that we can insert CSS into our HTML page. So we've done external, where you link a separate file. We've done internal, where you write style inside the head. And the last one is called inline. That's essentially where you write CSS inside the tag you want to apply it to. So over here, we made a bunch of changes to the paragraphs, and it happened to every single one of them. But let's say maybe you just wanted to change just this first header here. Like, I only want to change this one, not this one down there. There are different ways to do this, but one way is to use inline CSS. To do so, we're going to go to the opening tag. After the H1, we'll do a space. You'll need the space, otherwise this won't work. And then you're going to write an attribute called style. So as a reminder, attributes are things that describe the HTML tag. A style attribute says, hey, you can write some CSS in here. And then it follows the same thing we've seen so far, where you do the property, colon, and then the value. So let's say for our sample header, we want to make the color, and then we can choose a color. Let's just do brown. And then it has the same syntax with this semicolon. But if you want to do two lines like this, then usually you just keep writing the line. Background, color, blue, violet, sure. Okay. And so this here is essentially the same thing as if we did like an H1 here and then did two lines of code like that. But it's only going to apply to this specific H1. It won't apply to all of them. If I save this and run it, okay. Looking really gross, but it worked at least, so we can see it up there. Now, I'd highly advise against this. I think it looks really bad. I think it makes this hard to read. The only kind of reason you wouldn't want it or would consider to do it is if you had like just one tiny thing you need to change. Like, oh, I just need this to have the color brown. Fine. Then do it in line. But if you're doing like 5 or 6 properties, that's not a job for an inline CSS. That should be either handled in the internal or the external. While we're here, why don't we do one more property? So we've done, I'm going to keep the background color. I'm just going to delete brown color here. After blue violet, let's do one more. This one's called opacity. Now opacity, you give it a range from 0 to 1. You could do like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, whatever. The closer you are to 1, the more normal it is. You're not going to see through it. The closer you are to 0, the more that you're going to see through it. 0 means it's fully gone. Half is like, I guess, halfway visible. Let's try half for now. If I do 0.5, save it, and run it. Okay, you can see it's kind of see-through. If we did a background color for the page, we'd probably see that page as well. So the closer you get to 0, like if you do 0.1, it's going to be really faint. You can barely see it. I don't even know if you can see this on the video. And then the closer we get to 1, so if you do 0.9, that should be highly visible. You can barely notice the difference. So that's just one more property we can use, the opacity, with a value from 0 to 1. All right, so that's it for the types of different ways we can insert CSS into our HTML page. In our kind of next section, we'll start to look at a few more properties that kind of go together. We'll start forming different boxes and look at the spacing around those boxes.